So you think about success for the ag retailer, and I really do believe it really comes down to a couple of things. I think, one, we see retail businesses of all types and sizes, multi-outlet businesses versus single-outlet businesses, big footprint, lots of geography, very small, tight geography. But as you really sit back and evaluate those that are most successful, and by the way, I always measure that by profitability and growth, we really see two things. One, those that are most committed to making changes and truly being committed to, we're going to evaluate where the market's headed, not where it is, and we're going to make changes appropriate to that. I was working with a retailer not all that long ago up in Canada, and he had done a really interesting thing. One of the biggest challenges that his farmers, like most of yours, are having is risk management. This guy was not in the grain business. But what he did, he invited one of the large national grain companies to put a grain desk in his office so that he could talk to the guys about agronomic inputs and seed purchase decisions and those kind of things. But before they left, he very directly asked them, have you marketed your crop? And if they hadn't, he said, you know what, again, we have nothing to do with it other than I wanted to provide for my customers an opportunity while they were thinking about it to be able to sit down and talk to a professional that every day of his professional life focuses on risk management through grain marketing. And that's John right over there. Why don't you go talk to him before you leave? I'm sure he'd love to talk to you. Now that's committed to doing something different. Rather than get worried about, well, I'm not in the grain business, he just said, hey, wait a minute, how can I facilitate that opportunity for my customers? That's a pretty good idea. That's something that not everybody else. You want to talk about differentiation? I guarantee you in his market he was different because of that. The second piece is creativity, and again, that was a creative example. And I think, this is one that's really, really hard for folks, especially if they already have a business model. The challenge is you've already got a model, you've already got locations, you know you've got an asset that's frankly underperforming, but what do I do with it? Because we're in a time now where we've got a lot of retail bricks and mortar out there, so selling it, I'm not going to get the kind of dollars that I want. So how to creatively do that? How do I bring that into the fold? And I know a couple of retailers have gotten very aggressive in selling those assets or leasing those assets to farm customers, and as a part of the purchase, actually creating a fill opportunity with putting product in there that they sell to the farmer, then he can use that asset, but also the retailer pulls from that asset as well. So we've already got the asset in place, but creatively, how can we tie up some large farm customer business and at the same time efficiently use that particular facility? So I think those are a couple of ideas when we think about where the retailer of the future needs to focus. And then the final comment I make to you is this, folks. At the end of the day, in ag retail, it's about people. Biggest single challenge that I hear from growers, especially the large ones, is they're not 100% convinced that the people at a lot of retail businesses are the kind of folks that they think can offer them a lot of value. Push yourself really hard. Be as dispassionate as you can and sit back and ask yourself this question. So I run a $15 to $20 to $30 million business like a lot of your large farmers do. Is that the person that I want to see coming through my door to help advise me on how to make that business better? If the answer is no, you got two choices. Train that person or make a player trade. I know it's not fun. I know it's not easy. But at the same time, you got to understand what the greater impact is going to be on your business from a customer's perspective. And after all, at the end of the day, that's the only reason we're in the business is for the customer.